Do the cash walk, do the cash walk. Hey, I'm leaving flaming footprints on the asphalt. Pop your collar, twist your wrist, do the cash walk. I'm dropping dollars while you're wishing on a scratch off. My hollow mama list, she just hit the jackpot. I'm leaving flaming footprints on the asphalt. Pop your collar, twist your wrist, do the cash walk. I'm dropping dollars while you're wishing on a scratch off. My hollow mama list, she just hit the jackpot. I'm leaving flaming footprints on the asphalt. Pop your do the cash.
Oh, the Minor Details, episode 8, Pete. I can't believe we're on episode 8. And I want to thank all our followers. We had the best week ever. We had more downloads than we did in the other podcast. We doubled our downloads. How many cities are we in now, Pete?
Danny, I think we are in 75 cities and counting. We're almost at 100 cities, multiple countries. Thank you so much to all our listeners. Thank you to our viewers. We couldn't do this without you, and this show is for you all.
Yes, and we had, I believe the country we at it was Ireland this week, so we're in 8 countries. What did you say, 75 cities? Hey, Debbie's in here, McBlue's in here, we're all ready to go. McBlue.
welcome, everyone. Ireland, hey, I got a little Irish in me, Danny.
So I do too. I don't talk about it, but there's a little bit in me. There's Italian, Polish, and a little bit of Irish.
I love it. World. Danny, I just really want to quickly say congratulations. You're almost at 60,000 Instagram followers. Amazing. Yes. Phenomenal.
Yes. Pete, it's unbelievable. Pete, 2 weeks ago, me and you were here, and we were like, Danny might hit 50,000. Yes. Within 2 weeks, I'm up 10,000 more followers on Instagram. 10,000 followers in 2 weeks. I'm at 60,000 now on Instagram. 3 weeks, I went up 22,000 followers on TikTok. And I went up today, counting today, I went up 1,000 followers on Facebook. 1,000 within the past week. It's insane.
That's incredible. Shout out to Facebook. Shout out to everyone tuning in from all the platforms. I know a lot of people are just finding out about us. So shout out to all of our new listeners. We have 7 amazing episodes that you can stream everywhere you're streaming podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts. Please leave us a review when you listen. That helps us grow so we can get these cases out to more people.
And listen, Pete, since we're bragging, I got to brag a little bit, just a little bit. We are at a 5.0 on Apple Podcasts. That's our rating. And we are at a 4.3 on Spotify. So listen, to me, you're listening to the best true crime podcast out there. So keep listening. Let's go, baby.
Absolutely. And speaking to existence, let's get that Spotify rating up.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. We appreciate that. You guys are the best.
Ashley, thank you so much. We appreciate everyone who's tuning in. We have a really big show for you all today, but before we jump into our main case, the missing persons case from the Dominican Republic of Sudiksha Konanki, forgive me if I am not pronouncing that correctly. That's the best pronunciation I have learned. But before we jump into that, Danny, we have a few things to discuss. Do you want to start us off with some weekly highlights?
Yeah, Pete. I mean, there's a couple things. I think we saw the Impractical Jokers, right? Joe from the Impractical Jokers. And I'm going to be honest with you, Pete, this broke my heart. I love this show. I love Joe. Joe was the best guy on in Impractical Jokers. I loved everything he did. It came out this week that he had an affair on his wife with a 19-year-old girl. He invited her to his room. The girl said he has SA'd her. He invited her up in the room at 2 a.m. Now, Pete, a lot of people are sticking up for Joe. They're like, she's an adult. She's 19 years old and all that stuff. But Pete, he's a 48-year-old man. He's a 48-year-old man. I don't know about you, but I'd be very uncomfortable inviting a teenage girl to my room. I mean, beep, beep, beep. It's wrong. Sexual assault her or not, it's wrong for a 48-year-old man to invite a 19-year-old girl up to his room. You know, I don't know how you feel about it, but to me, it's wrong.
Yeah, Danny, I was also very disturbed to hear that news. From watching Joe on Impractical Jokers, it seems like he's a great guy all around. People really come off, their personalities come off on camera, their voices resonate, and you can kind of feel what you get a feeling for a person, what you think a person's like. So it is very disturbing to hear this news. The biggest facts about that accusation are, of course, if he violated any consent in any ways and he did anything that was inappropriate, that is obviously way across the line. We can definitely talk about legality versus morally right and wrong, but I saw in the comments a lot of people are defending him. A lot of people are saying, well, she's an adult and he can do whatever he wants. But Danny, another thing I don't like, he's a married man. Am I wrong? Is he not married?
He's a married man. He has a child. He invited her to the room, but this ain't the only girls. Two other teenage girls have now came out. Joe invited them also. He was asking them if he could see their stomachs, asking them to raise their shirts to see their stomachs. He's asking these teenage girls to kiss him. I mean, come on. You're a 48-year-old man, dude. Okay, that's disgusting. It's creepy. Okay, it's creepy for a 48-year-old man to be doing this to 19-year-olds. And Pete, the disgusting thing that you said, so many 70% of the people in my comments were for Joe. Okay, they were for him, they were against the girl.
Yeah, Danny, I think we could eventually have a big episode talking about different accusations, whether it's Bill Cosby or Kevin Spacey. There's a lot of different celebrities who have been accused of these terrible things. Johnny Depp, of course, won his case against Amber Heard. So celebrity and fame does different things to different people. The crave for the spotlight, the crave for, I don't know, maybe it's that new high again. They've already gotten the rush of being a celebrity, so now they're looking for something else. I don't know what it is, but I think we can all agree that a lot of people out there need help. We talked about that on our last podcast.
Yeah, and Pete, think about this. A lot of people don't realize this, right? But Kobe Bryant was also accused of this. Kobe Bryant was accused of this. There's a lot of celebrities that have been accused of this. And listen, I am going to stick up for them. When you become a celebrity, you are a target. Okay? I'm going to give some advice to celebrities. Look at me in the eyes. Do not have one night stands. Okay? One night stands are not good, guys. It's not good. Do not have a one night stands, and I think you'll be okay. Quit the one night standsing out. But it's disgusting what Joe did. They're teenage girls. I believe he probably did it. He admits to, he didn't say he didn't have sex with her. Okay. So he admits, he said, hey, I've done some wrong and I'm going to take a break. That's what he said. I did some things wrong and I'm going to take a break. So he's admitting, basically that's admitting he invited her to the room. You know what I mean? He's just saying he didn't sexual assault her.
Yeah, definitely. And on this show, we try to talk about the biggest cases that are going on right now. We try to talk about the biggest discoveries, the biggest true crime. I am getting some comments that I'm seeing here on Instagram asking if we're going to talk about the missing Pittsburgh student. We will in just a few minutes.
We will.
But at the beginning of the show, we like to do just a few weekly highlights. We also like to do an entertainment spotlight. And for the entertainment spotlight, Danny, I want you to mention first, weren't you just on a big podcast this week?
Oh, yes.
Let's tell it.
Guys, you could catch me on the Cougarlicious Clubhouse podcast, where I was, are you ready for this, Pete?
Yes.
I was the eye candy on this show. I was the eye candy at 56 years old. I was the eye candy on this show, Pete. And here's the good thing. I need you guys all to vote for me. For this Cougarlicious show, there are 4 guests of the month. We all get to vote who was the best looking host of the show, the guest host. So you've got to vote for me. You got to vote for me. And she's a comedian. She is so funny, the lady that runs this show. She's at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Show. She actually sent me free tickets today, but I couldn't go because we're doing the podcast. But check out the Cougarlicious podcast.
I love it. Congratulations. I will watch that this week. And everyone, please go vote for Danny. I'm sure you probably are objectively the best looking guy there. You know, I'm just saying that as a brother, but I'm sure you probably are.
Listen, I didn't know I was going to be the eye candy till I got there, and she told me. She said, you know what this is all about? We're cougars, and we're cougarlicious, and we bring guys on that are decent looking. I'm like, all right, so at least I'm decent looking.
I love it. Later, I'm gonna offer my services if they want me as a guest. I don't know if I qualify, but hey, we'll see if they want to put me on there for some eye candy one day. That'll be fun.
Somebody said on Instagram, I don't know what this means. Could somebody tell me? Some master something said, Danny, stop being a gooning lord. What is that?
That
I don't know what that is. If somebody could tell me what that is, I don't know what that is.
Hey, Danny, I want you to mention one more thing, or I want to tell the world one more thing. Now that we're on the entertainment spotlight, you were also followed by another celebrity. Last week, you were followed by Sylvester Stallone, world celebrity Rocky. This week, you were followed by Gavin DeGraw, this famous singer, correct?
I don't want to be anything other than who I am, right? The famous song of Gavin DeGraw, man. We are in. Yes. It's weird. The celebrities are all starting to follow me now. They're starting to like, they're starting to comment on my posts. So I don't know. Somebody said this, what one of my followers told me, and I don't know how true it is. They're starting to see you as a celebrity. So maybe that's true. I don't know. Maybe it is. But I'm starting to get celebrities follow me all the time.
Yes, it's happening as we speak, Danny. It's happening right before our very eyes. And I want to mention something for the entertainment spotlight in terms of who I worked with last year, which is Mr. Beast, the world's #1 YouTuber. Mr. Beast just announced that they are casting contestants for the next season, season 2 of Beast Games. So let's go.
Am I too old, Pete? Could I do it?
You are not too old, Danny. All ages are welcome. 18 and above are welcome. Now, it's not confirmed, Danny, but right now it's speculated that Mr. Beast will be giving away the largest grand prize in world history, $15 million US dollars at the end of this show.
Yes. Oh my God. I want to win that. I want to win that.
Yeah. So for all our viewers, all our listeners, you can actually go to Beast Games on Instagram, Beast Games on Amazon Prime, and you can actually submit right now to be a contestant. I just want to let everyone know because I love Mr. Beast. I love working for him. I love that he actually builds houses, drills wells. He's actually in Ghana right now trying to get children out of the fields and trying to get them into schools to get them educated. Great cause. He's a great man. He really is.
He is a great man. And listen, I just want to say one thing real quick before we get off and we get on this missing case.
Yeah.
My buddy sent me a video, what Mr. Beast said, because people, you don't realize Mr. Beast is one of the biggest social media content creators out there.
Yes.
And what he said was, and I already knew this, but he really put it in perspective. He said, how do you become a content creator? There's tons of content creators out there. And what he basically said was, there's a lot of cows. There's cows everywhere. But you have to be the purple cow. You have to be the cow that stands out. You got to do things that other people won't do. And that's how you stand out. And he's true. If you think about my thing, I'm the purple cow true crime because I scream, I yell, I entertain. I don't just tell the facts. I entertain, Pete. I'm the purple cow.
Following his advice before you even heard that advice, and that's so true. So shout out to Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast. Shout out to you, Danny. Thank you for allowing me to be your co-host every single week. This is the highlight of my week. I'm so honored. And I see that Debbie and Angela in the comments say they might be joining the contestants. They might be submitting to be contestants on Beast Games. So let's go.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. We should everybody on the podcast, everybody should apply.
Yes.
But Pete, a lot of people want us to get into this case. Are we ready to? Oh, one last thing, guys. Starting next week, we are going to do a missing person or missing children. Right in the beginning, we're going to give 3 missing peoples every podcast and get the word out. It's going to be a spotlight for missing people. So every podcast now, we're going to give 3 missing people, get them out there so we get the words out. So if your loved one's missing or somebody that you know was missing for years, please reach out to me. We'll get them on the podcast.
Yes, Danny, that's one of the best ideas you've had. Angela, you're absolutely right. That's an amazing idea. So as we are now approaching the main topic for today's episode, This is really big. This is near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. Before we jump into this specific case, I want to give about 1 minute of facts. I want to just talk about missing people in the world. This is a big thing that we are now going to be branching into. Danny, you've been doing it for a long time, but let me just tell all our viewers who might not know, it's estimated that about 8 million children and 4 million adults are reported missing in the world every single year. And just in the United States of America, it's estimated that around 600,000 people are reported missing every single year. These numbers are way too high. This is outrageous. What do you think about those stats, Danny?
It's crazy, Pete. And listen, I think I mentioned this before. I was on the Missing Child Task Force in Dauphin County in Pennsylvania. And what that was is when we had a missing child, every detective from the county, one detective from each police department in the county would immediately respond to the scene and start looking for that child. And Pete, the scary thing is, here's a fact that I don't like telling, but people need to know. If you don't find that child within 3 hours, finding that child alive is slim and none. You have 3 hours to find a child or that child is going to be murdered. Pete, they're usually murdered within 1 mile from where they were abducted. And folks, here's the scariest part. And you guys, parents out there, I want you to know this. They don't wake up that day, these people, and say, I'm going to abduct a child today. It's opportunity. They see a child walking alone and it's fucking opportunity. So when you tell your kid not to walk alone, it's facts because they look for the opportunity. That's the scariest thing ever. Yeah, you got 3 hours to find that child or the child's not going to be found alive. It's a fact.
scary and horrific, and that's why today's episode is so important. So just to piggyback on what you just said, the stats I looked up were that just in America, 90% of the children are found within 2 days, but that 10% never found. 86 adults are found within 2 days, but the other 14% never found. Another disturbing fact, 4,400 unidentified bodies are found in the United States every year. 4,400 bodies that we still don't know who they are. So
That's crazy.
This is terrible, Danny. So this is the epidemic. We have to do something. That's why the missing person spotlight that we're going to get into is going to be so huge. And really quick on Instagram, I see Chelsea Lynn, one of my good friends from movie sets, in the comments. Shout out to Chelsea. Shout out to Maine and North and South Carolina. Let's jump into the show today. Let's talk about this main episode.
All right, guys. Listen, I did a bunch of videos on this. One of my videos went to over 1 million on this, but I did about 4 or 5 videos on this missing girl. And Pete, it's scary, especially, I think it's more scary for me because I have young daughters. I was a single parent. I raised my 2 daughters by myself. They grew up to great adults, but my one daughter's 31, my other daughter's 28 now. But I still treat them like they're little kids because I'm scared for them, especially doing all these videos that I do in this content creation. I know how serious this is. So now we have a 20-year-old girl. She goes to the Dominican Republic, and now she's missing. Pete, this sounds like Natalie Holloway all over again. It's almost the same exact thing as Natalie Holloway. We're hearing Natalie drowned. She did this, she did that. But the facts are, I don't believe this girl drowned. I just don't. What about you, Pete?
I'm very, very much leaning on the side of not thinking she drowned at this current point. We'll get into the reasons why I think that as we talk about this. In the United States of America alone, Oregon, Alaska, and Arizona, those are the top 3 states for the highest percentage of missing people. Now, the Dominican Republic is not known for a capital of missing people. This has not happened, especially in the location where this transpired. So just to backtrack for anyone who doesn't know about this case, this took place on March 6th this year, 2025, just 3 short weeks ago in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, which is a very popular tourist destination. So it doesn't happen there very often. This is a big case.
Yeah. And basically what happened, and Pete, let's start from the beginning, okay?
Right.
Her and her friends, just like any kids, they're going to take a spring break trip, basically, is what they did. They're going to the Dominican Republic. They end up there. I guess they land or arrive on March 3rd. On March 6th, they all go to a nightclub, which, of course, they're kids. Of course, they're going to go to a nightclub. Of course, they're kids. They're going to start drinking, okay? Most of the group at 5:55 went back to the hotel. One man stayed with her, okay? Joshua. He was a senior in Minnesota College. He stayed with her. What he said was they were in the ocean. They got hit by a wave. They both almost drowned. He was throwing up because the wave was, all the water was in his lungs. When he got done throwing up, he looked around and she was gone, and he believes she took her stuff and went home.
Wow.
Now, Pete, let me ask you something. You meet a girl in the Dominican Republic. She's hanging out with you. You're having a romantic evening. You're on the beach. You're swimming in the beach, right? You get hit by a wave. You both almost struck. Could you hear me, Pete?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, because my mic, I think my mic just went off, or my headphones went off. You can hear me?
Good audio for me.
Okay, perfect. So basically, that's what happened, Pete. He said that they got hit by a wave, and then he looked around, and she was gone. She was gone. I mean, I don't believe that story at all.
No, there's definitely a lot of discrepancy. So the young lady, Sudiksha, I'm pronouncing it. She's a pre from the University of Pittsburgh, and 3 days on March, she vanished.
Yes.
We know Josh person to see her, and we know that recounting story very suspicious reasons, and we'll talk moments.
Yeah.
About the night she went.
Yeah, Pete, you're cutting out. You want to check your mic?
Yeah, one moment. Let me make sure.
All right.
Here. Okay.
You got it?
Good audio. All right. One moment. Technical difficulty. All right, here we go. How about now?
You sound perfect now. Go ahead. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Great. We're back. Technical difficulty. We're working on being the number one. On the way. So the night appearance. I have a timeline. We know for sure last seen with Joshua. No stuff for a lot. However, a lot of questions. Did someone else between the time that he allegedly got water? He said her that he kind of, and he's a former life. So he has the skill very strongly. But vanished when he looks up 4:15 timeline. So 4:15 a.m. she was last seen on camera.
Okay, Pete, could you guys hear me? Because I wasn't hearing Pete. Is everybody hearing Pete?
Oh, it's a Debbie says I'm still cutting out. So let me see.
Okay, it's better now. They said it's better now, so we're good to go. You guys can all hear me good?
All right, Danny, you're good on my end. Let me know in the comments if you guys are hearing my audio, please. Someone let me know, because we want to get this information out. We want to talk about this case. And Danny's voice is amazing, but I have some opinions also that I want to share. So,
go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
Blue says all good. So we know that 4:15 a.m., the missing student, Sudiksha, was last seen on camera with Joshua. At 4:55 a.m., 5 women and 1 man leave the beach, and Sudiksha was not in the group. Fast forward several hours later, 8:55, we see Joshua leaving the beach with no sign of her whatsoever. So that's basically 9 a.m. he leaves the beach. His story basically says that she and he were kissing in the water. And we'll talk about his story in just a minute. We'll talk about the way he testified and the possible discrepancies with his recounting of the events. But to summarize, he says they were in the water kissing. A rogue wave hit them and basically knocks them out, washes them back into sea. He grabs her under his arm and swims her back to shore. He swallows a lot of seawater in the process, and he gets sick and starts vomiting. While he's vomiting, he looks up to her. He looks up to her and sees her walking at an angle, and he calls out to her, "Are you okay?" But he never hears a response.
Oh my God.
That's weird.
Pete, I just don't believe that. If you were hanging out with some girl, right, and you're on the beach and she's gone, okay, wouldn't you panic? Wouldn't you go to the police? Wouldn't you go to somebody right away? Oh my God, we almost drowned. Oh my God, where is she? I don't believe this story at all. Do you?
Oh, Danny, no, I'm very, very suspicious about this story because, all right, let's talk about what everyone's saying. So many people are saying they're college kids. They're young. Joshua was 22. He lived in Iowa and, of course, went to college in Minnesota. Young Sudiksha was 20. So they're young college kids, okay? We know they're drinking. We know they're probably drinking heavily. So,
Okay.
of course, young people and drunk people both do not make the best decisions. So you combine factors, you have a recipe for accidents. You have a recipe for potential disaster. But his story is just not lining up for a few different reasons. And let's just talk about that right now. First of all, it's been reported that he gave 3 different accounts to investigators. Now, later on, CNN clarified and said, well, we don't think he gave 3 different stories. What we think is that there were translation issues with his stories. So the investigators interpreted 3 different accounts of what he said. So, Danny, do you want to elaborate any on that about the translation issues and the fact that his story didn't initially line up?
Right. And here's the thing, Pete. You're going to have translation problems, right? The guy's American, right? They're going to be speaking Spanish, right? He's going to have trouble understanding it. So they kept him. I guess with Dominican Republican laws, they were able to keep him. Okay? They were able to keep him there. Now, in the United States, we wouldn't be able to do that, Pete.
Mm-mm.
In the United States, you would not be able to just keep somebody for weeks until you investigate something. You're not allowed to do that here in the US at all. But, let me give you guys an example. If we had a suspect in the United States, and I'm going to give you some cop things, what we do. If we have a suspect, but we don't have enough to arrest him, we look for other crimes. Maybe he had a warrant for a traffic ticket. Maybe he had a warrant for public drunkenness. We would pick him up on that warrant just to hold him so we can get him on the major crime that we're investigating. But in the U.S., there's no oh, you can't leave. Okay, that's in movies. Okay, but in the Dominican Republic, they wouldn't let him leave.
Yeah, that's right, Danny. And Joshua immediately lawyered up. His lawyers immediately said that it was unfair detainment and that the Dominican police illegally seized his passport. They said he should not have done that. Now, that's obviously something that different opinions might vary on that. However, he was a person of interest right away because we know he's the last person documented to see her, and he testified that he saw her at the early hours of that morning, around 5 in the morning. Now, he also says as soon as he didn't see her later when she was walking from the water, he did not hear her respond when he said, "Are you okay?" He says he passed out drunk, started vomiting, passed out in a chair, and then woke up around 8 a.m. when the mosquitoes were biting him and the sun was hitting him. So in other words, he's suddenly having a great moment, a nice romantic night. The waves wash him and her out to sea. He essentially saves her life from his testimony. And then instead of making sure he's really saved her life completely, he just says, "Oh, I'm drunk and I'm throwing up. Let me pass out."
I don't believe that story one bit. Pete, here's the other thing. And me and you talked off air. And ladies, I'm telling you, this is what guys do. We would feel responsible for you. If I was with this girl that I just met, there's no way I leave her walk home alone to the hotel, go anywhere alone. I'm responsible for her. I'm the last one with her. I walk her back to her hotel. I make sure she gets back with her friends. There's no way I get hit with a wave and say, "Fuck, I don't know where she went. I'm going back to the hotel." It just don't make sense. When things don't make sense, you got to go with your gut. You got to trust your instincts as an investigator. And I think they missed something here. Where is this girl? Nobody knows where her body is. Her body didn't show up. It didn't get washed to the beach. Who knows where this girl is? Could it have been eaten by sharks? Or of course it could have. Fish, whatever. But most of the time you're going to find clothing. You're going to find something.
Yes, Danny, that's right. So what we know for sure is allegedly she was wearing some hoop earrings. She was wearing a couple bracelets, and she was wearing a brown bikini, and her white cover-up top. It was kind of like a see-through cover-up top that was actually found on the beach chair the next morning. So that's the only clothing article they found. And as we're talking about her possessions, it's very important to mention she had no phone that night. She allegedly left her phone with her friend group while she went out to make out and hang out on the beach with a stranger she just met in a foreign country. That alone sounds another red flag to me.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, it just don't make sense. And what about her friends not like letting her with that? And girls, maybe you guys could answer the question for me and Pete. Would you let your friend in a foreign country at 5 o'clock in the morning hang out with some strange dude? I don't see you doing it. I don't see girls doing that. Why didn't her friends stop her?
That makes no sense to me, Danny. And also, again, they took her phone. They never said, "Hey, check in with us." They allegedly they took her phone and her wallet. They were holding onto her phone and their wallet. So just to talk about her friends really quick, the next morning rolls around. Joshua had allegedly seen her. Later, Joshua says he assumes she went back to her room. Now, Joshua also did not have his phone. He said he had to go back to his room to get his phone. That's very suspicious. There's no phones on the beach whatsoever. How many young people out there, age 20 and 22, are leaving your phones in your rooms while you're going out to interact and hang out? I don't know anyone, Danny, especially Americans. Americans are glued.
Pete, I wouldn't leave my phone. You wouldn't leave your phone. Kids, no way they leave their phone. That's their whole world, Pete. Their whole world.
So that's another suspicious thing. As we're talking about this case already, I want to point out the different factors of the different groups, why it's suspicious that her friends allegedly did that and didn't check on her, why it's suspicious that Joshua himself left his phone. And then in a few minutes, we'll talk about the parents and the parents' reaction. I do see a couple comments here. Do we want to get to a comment or two? I see.
Yeah, Angela said, if I'm going in the water for a one-night stand, I don't want to be electrocuted. I want a phone that's working afterwards. Listen, I think you can leave your phone on the beach. You don't have to leave it in the hotel room. How do you know you're having a one-night stand?
That's a good point.
Angela's getting prepared for this one-night stands before she leaves the hotel.
Wow. Okay, wow. I'm not going to comment on that specifically, but hey, we love you, Angela. We love all our listeners and all our viewers. Danny, I lived in Florida for about 9 months, in Panama City, Florida, right by the beach. I walked into the ocean every day. And guess what? Every single one of those days, I had my phone with me. I never took it into the ocean, but I always left it in wrapped up in my shorts, or I put it in my sandals, or I put it on a beach chair. I always had my phone within earshot or eyeshot if I needed to go back to it. And that's just me. I don't know any young people these days who would leave their phones for several hours while they're going out to party. That just is very unusual, to say the least.
That's totally unusual. And Pete, we might as well get into this. You know, after a week of her missing, her parents come out and say they want her declared unalived. Were you shocked by that?
Danny, I'm absolutely blown away by that. Before her parents asked the authorities to declare her unalived, they previously made a statement a few days after she went missing, and they said, please, authorities, I do not want you to close this case. I do not want to rule it a drowning. I want you all to consider multiple options, even the possibility that she was kidnapped or abducted. So if the first few days, she gives the reaction that I would have given, or I think you would have given, or any reasonable family member would given, like, hey, let's not give up. Let's continue the search. But then a short week later or so after that, they suddenly say, you know what? We've looked at the investigators' reports. We've looked at the experts' testimony about tides, and we now believe she's drowned. Suddenly. That's wrong to me, Danny. That's wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I totally. And listen, Pete, we're getting a question on Instagram I want to go to.
Okay.
The kids go to the bar on spring break and leave their phones not to take videos or pictures. Right. That's what this lady's basically saying here on TikTok. Like, kids would want, they're on spring break, they're on vacation. Of course, they're going to take videos and pictures. They're not going to go to the bar without their phone. It just don't make sense.
That's absolutely unacceptable and unrealistic as well, Danny. You're absolutely right. These kids are having the time of their lives. They literally are wanting to brag to all their friends back home at university about what they're doing. Of course, they want to take pictures and videos. They want to show that they're partying and living it up. So the fact that both of them, both Joshua and Sudiksha, both left their phones with their friends or in their rooms, highly suspicious. And to answer a question in Instagram, it looks like were the phones and wallet found? Allegedly, the investigators did retrieve the phone from the friends. So, but that's why it's so shady to me. And now that we're talking about the friends, Danny, the friends did not report Sudiksha missing until 4 p.m. the following morning. They went out that day on an excursion after last seeing her that night, walking away with this stranger, Joshua, who they just met. They went out on an excursion in the DR, and they had her hotel room key, but they did not think to check her hotel. They had her phone, so they couldn't call her, but they did not think to walk to her room, swipe the key, and say, hey, are you okay? Do you want to come on this excursion? Why? I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine, Pete, like, say me, you, and a bunch of buddies went on vacation, right? You're out with some girl or something, we leave you, and then the next day we wake up and you're not there? And we have your phone, we know you have no money, you have your wallet, and I'm just going to go on an excursion? There's no fucking way. I'm going to be looking. I'm going to be looking.
Absolutely, Danny. So here's who was looking. We know 300 agents eventually began to look after this was taken seriously. We know that drones, helicopters, divers, police dogs were all launched into this investigation. This became a big, full-scale investigation in the Dominican Republic. So eventually it was taken seriously, but why so long? As we were talking about the Idaho case last week, why so long? It makes no sense to me. Why wait to report something that seems very pressing, very urgent? And your friend, I call my friends, Danny, I call them my chosen family. So when I'm hanging out with someone, that's like a family member to me. And I'm not going to wait a long time before I'm looking for them, let alone reporting them missing. That's outrageous to me.
I totally agree with you, Pete. There's no way I would leave a friend alone like that. There is absolutely no way. Absolutely no way.
No.
And listen, I want to thank everybody. We have more people watching right now than we ever had. So thank you all. I totally appreciate it, guys.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're just now joining us, we are talking about the missing University of Pittsburgh student who went missing in the Dominican Republic. Danny, before we continue on talking about the facts, have you ever been to Dominica, the Dominican Republic island?
Never. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I have. Haiti. I've been to Haiti.
Okay, great. So
yes.
You want to share with everyone going to Haiti, and then I want to share with everyone my visit to the Dominican Republic as well.
Well, listen, it's going to be a little bit of a brag.
Okay.
I won a trip, a cruise playing poker, believe it or not.
Nice.
And our cruise landed in Haiti. And
Okay.
honestly, I was like, Haiti's kind of dangerous. Do I really want to go to Haiti? You know
Right.
what I mean? And I'm going to be honest with you. When the cruise ship landed, Pete, it was the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. Haiti was like the Garden of Eden. That's how beautiful this place was. I mean, where I was, it was beautiful. I'm going to tell you straight out it was.
Wow, that's amazing, Danny. So I wanted to go to Haiti when I was in the Dominican Republic. I actually flew there in 2017 to film a movie with Jim Gaffigan and Anna Kendrick. The film is called The Day Shall Come. I was playing a Miami SWAT officer, and it was so beautiful. I was in a place called Juan Dolio. So I was about 2 hours away from Punta Cana. I did not see that specific resort, but the island is amazing. It's so beautiful. The reason I asked you that is so we can give a little bit of personal testimony to what that area is like. And like you mentioned, Haiti, it has a very, very bad reputation for being highly dangerous. I was warned by the locals there, do not go to Haiti, because I wanted to take a 4-hour bus ride from the DR and I wanted to cross the border into Haiti. They said, do not do it. You're an American. You're alone. It's not safe. Is that the vibe you got when you were there?
Yes, they told us to stay where we were, close to the island, where all the resorts were and all that stuff that we were doing. So they want us to stay away from all of that. So yes, Haiti is bad. You know what I mean? It really, really is.
Well, one reason I wanted to ask that, Danny, because it does pertain to this case, obviously, as we mentioned at the beginning, the Dominican Republic does not have a huge population of missing people, especially in these tourist areas. This isn't a popular thing that usually happens, but Haiti is known as a very dangerous place with lots of kidnappings and abductions. For people who don't know, Haiti and the DR are connected. They're both the island of Dominica. So there's literally just one border between the two. And that's what a lot of people I've been reading are saying in the comments. They're saying something suspicious. Maybe she was taken to Haiti. Maybe it was a Haitian construction worker. Did you hear any news about that? Or did you hear any discussion about that, about Haitian workers talking to her or possibly seeing
I
her?
did not hear that. The only thing that people are saying in my comments, they believe she was sex trafficked. They believe she was human trafficked. And, people think that because she was in a foreign country. But honestly, the human trafficking place in the world is Las Vegas, Nevada, where I live. That's the number one human trafficking place is Las Vegas, Nevada.
Wow, that's so sad to hear, and that's so devastating. I do see a comment on Instagram just wanting a quick rundown and not really knowing what the story's about. We are talking about the missing University of Pittsburgh student, Sudiksha Konanki, 20 years old, who went missing on March 6th. So this month she was missing. Her parents have already declared her or asked the authorities to declare her unalive. But Danny, that's way too soon. This case needs to stay open, in my opinion.
Yeah. I totally agree. The case needs to stay open. And because something will come out sooner or later. Look at all the little things that came out with Natalie Holloway. As
Yeah.
things come out, more stuff came out. He took her to the beach. His father was a judge. Remember that? All of that stuff with the Natalie Holloway case, right? And then we ended up finding out the truth afterwards. He murdered her. Then he murdered another girl. I forget somewhere else. The guy who murdered Natalie Holloway actually murdered another girl. I don't know if you remember that, Pete.
Wow, Danny, I need to research more into that case, but I did a little research on Natalie Holloway just for the comparisons. For anyone who's listening or who doesn't know about Natalie Holloway, this was in 2005. She went missing from Aruba. She was a 17-year-old Alabama student who was there on spring break. She went missing, and then later on, the killer confessed that he murdered her. Many years later, if I'm not mistaken, right, Danny? Many years later.
Many years later, yes.
So this is definitely way too soon. 3 weeks is too soon to declare it. And Danny, if I can tell a quick personal story, it's difficult for me to say, but my little brother was found unalive in 2009 in St. Louis, Missouri. He had never been to St. Louis, Missouri. The detectives in St. Louis declared him unalive by means of his own hand. They said he did it. I don't believe that, Danny. I still, to this day, 2025, believe that there is foul play in the loss of my little brother. So I would never, ever, ever shut the case on something that I believe needs to be open. I will continue searching for answers in my little brother's case till the day I die. If I were Sudiksha's parents, I would never, ever give up hope. I would say, no, let's find her. Let's search the ends of the earth to find her. Let's not give up.
Pete, I'm sorry to hear that. I never knew that about your brother. So this was in Missouri?
Yeah, Danny, it's very, very difficult for me to talk about, but I figured, hey, why not? We're talking about true crime. We're talking about real stuff here. Yeah, my little brother, his body was found in a motel room in St. Louis. My little brother was a valedictorian of his class. He taught himself guitar. He taught himself keyboard. He could program computers. He would do programming for software. He taught himself the Japanese language. At the age of 18, he was playing the stock market, making big bucks. He graduated valedictorian at age 17. He finished his junior and senior year in 1 year. Danny, I consider myself a pretty smart person, but I'm dumb compared to my little brother. He was a genius. So I don't believe he would have ever taken his own life. However, that's what the police in St. Louis declared. So I will never let that go. And again, it's painful for me to talk about. I almost broke down just mentioning it, but I'm saying that because it relates to this case. I hope that her parents will listen to this episode and at least have some hope to find her. Because if you have someone who's missing, or if you have someone who has been unalived and you don't know what's happening, to me, that's not a case closed. To me, that chapter should never be shut if you really love them, if you really want to find out.
I totally agree, Pete. And listen, if I was you, I would never give up on your brother. And listen, when we're off air, I really want to hear more about this. Maybe I could give you some advice and what I feel about it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk more in the future for sure. But as we only have 20 minutes left in this episode, I really want to get to all the points of this case, and we can talk about my brother more in the future. His name was Timothy, just an absolute great guy. But this is personal to me, Danny. This is something that I do in my outside career. I do music, I make rap and hip hop, I work on movies and TV shows, I'm an author. But talking about missing people is so personal to me because we really have the opportunity to help get solution to these cases. We really can help find this young lady, even if it's not through us, but maybe it's through someone who's listening or somewhere in the comments today. We have the platform to do this, Danny, and it's important to me.
And you know what? I agree with you, Pete. I just had a lady reach out to me also. Her daughter's been missing for years. And we want people to reach out to us. Am I right, Pete?
Of course. Absolutely. Please do. We really want to talk to the families as well. So I hope in the future that any families out there who are victim survivors will reach out to us and will take the opportunity to come on our show. We want to talk about what you feel. I would like to actually ask the parents, if they're listening, why so soon? Why are you, after just a few weeks, saying that we're giving up hope and you now believe she's drowned? It took 300 investigators, tons of helicopters, dogs, divers. They haven't found a body yet. Okay, we know that's a possibility. She may be out in the ocean. Her body may never be found. But there's still hope, Danny. There's still hope.
Pete, there's no way. I think of my daughters, right? If my daughter went on vacation in the Dominican Republic and did not come home and they're telling me she's missing and that she drowned, Pete, I'd be living in the Dominican Republic. I would find a way to live there until I found my daughter. There's no way I would go to authorities and say I want her unalive. I want her declared unalive or dead. It's ridiculous.
So you're absolutely right, Danny. And I believe the parents did go to the DR initially. Her parents did go there. And I guess initially they were really hardcore. Her father even asked the investigators, hey, please do not just consider this a drowning. Please consider multiple options. This might be a kidnapping. This might be an abduction. But then a short time later, they changed the tune completely. And it's very weird. So the parents' reaction is very strange to me. The friends of Sudiksha, the Pittsburgh student who went missing, it's very suspicious to me and weird to me how they kept her phone. They did not check on her. They went to an excursion and they reported her later. And Joshua's reports, the last student to see her, these are all suspicious. So there's a lot of things in this case that give us yellow and red flags that we need to really consider. There are multiple options that could be going on here.
And listen, we got a comment here. Do you think they declared her unalive for life insurance policy? God, I hope the hell not. I really hope the hell not. I hope not.
I shudder to even think of that, Danny. As we talk about true crime in these cases, we are really getting into some of the depravity of humankind and some of the terrible things. I hope that's not the case. But at the end of the day, I want to help find her. I know you want to help find her. And I know we have thousands, if not millions of people out there in the world who want to help find her. So there's a lot of suspicious things. There's a lot of suspicious talk as well. For example, one thing I want to bring up, there was mention that possibly her drink was drugged or roofied. There's video surveillance of her vomiting before her and Joshua went off into the beach.
And that's what a lot of people said in the comments of my videos, Pete. They believe both of them were drugged. Both of them.
It's
So I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
thing that bothers me, Pete, is there's no body. There's
right.
no body. That just don't make sense to me.
No, absolutely not. Now, Joshua, the Iowa resident, the Minnesota student, Joshua, who saw her live last, he finally did return home on March 20th. So just 7 days ago, he was cleared by the Dominican Republic to, I'm not going to say that they no longer are considering him a person of interest, but they never labeled him a suspect. But he was finally cleared to return back home. His parents made a statement saying he is now resting. Please do not ask him anything else. So before he went home, though, Danny, he turned down 8 different questions from investigators. His lawyers advised him not to answer several questions while he was there in the DR. Can you elaborate on why his lawyers might have advised that to him?
Listen, all lawyers are going to tell you not to talk to the police. Honestly, every lawyer I know will 100% tell you not to talk to the police. No matter if you're innocent or guilty, they're going to tell you not to talk to the police. Pete, me, and this is coming from a law enforcement officer. If I didn't do anything, I'm talking to the police. That's just me. Because I don't know why I wouldn't. We're talking about a missing girl, and I might have something to say to help find her. Okay? So I'm talking to the police, but 99.9% of the lawyers are going to tell you not to talk to the police.
Okay, so that's fair, I guess. That's what lawyers do. But let's talk about Joshua. Why, in his situation, as a good human being, would he decline? Why, if he's not guilty of anything whatsoever, and if he has absolutely nothing to hide, why would he not do everything possible to answer every single question in order to help find her? That's what I want to know.
I totally agree. To me, that's suspicious. It really is. It's suspicious to me. I mean, there is no way that I would think a girl drowned and just go back to my hotel. I would call the police. I would look for her. I'd get a search team. I would do everything. To me, again, just like the Idaho case, there's things that are not adding up. If things don't add up, that's where you're looking. This isn't adding up. It really isn't. Pete, I'm going to tell you something. I feel within a month or so, more evidence is going to come out in this case. I really do.
I hope so, Danny. And I hope this podcast is able to reach some of the people involved. I hope some of the friends or some of the friends of friends will come forward with any information. I do see a comment now from Instagram asking, why didn't Joshua tell anyone when he couldn't find her? And this person thinks that he might have done something to her. That's a great question, Danny. So 8 a.m., he rolls over after having a great romantic night, making out, kissing in the ocean, almost drowning allegedly, and saving the life of his new friend, his new romantic partner for the night, who almost drowned. And then he just wakes up and just casually goes to his room to get his phone without mentioning to anyone. That's suspicious also. A lot of behavior here is not cool.
It's not cool. And listen, I get it. Kids go to spring break. They want to get drunk. They want to party. They want to have a good time. I get it. But there's a lot of non-common sense going on here. Okay? There's no way a guy can't find a girl and just goes home. There's no way. No dude is doing that. I don't care if you don't know the girl. I don't care if the girl's a stranger. I don't care if you met her for 5 minutes. You don't do that. That's just me.
I agree, Danny. And maybe you and I are both a little more old school. Maybe we both were instilled with values and morals to not do that and to care more. But to me, there's just absolutely no way that I would have experienced that in the way that he's recounting it and let it end that way. I would have immediately, I don't care how intoxicated I was. I don't care if I was puking. I would have done what I had to do, drink some water, splash some water on my face to wake up. I would have continued the search right then. But I definitely would not have waited hours later and just casually gone about my partying. Now, we had a comment just a moment ago asking where were his shoes, socks, and shirt. That's another thing a lot of people are speculating on. Allegedly, the video footage that shows him returning, some people are saying the footage does not show his shoes, socks, or shirt. Other people are saying that his shirt is in his pocket. I don't quite know, Danny. Do you know for sure about that?
I don't know for sure. I looked. I can't tell. What about you?
Yeah, so that's also suspicious. So if he did leave that, how many people are going on vacation leaving your personal belongings? You're on vacation for a week, maybe. You're only bringing 5, 6 shirts, maybe. You might pick up a shirt or two there, but why are you going to leave one of your valuable beach shirts and your shoes? Why are you going to leave your shoes? How many pairs of shoes or flip-flops do people bring on a beach vacation?
Exactly. You're bringing a flip flop and maybe sneakers, right? That's it. That's
So
about it. And
absolutely.
listen, we got another question here. World Went here on Instagram. Do you know how many people? It's basically a statement. Do you know
Okay.
how many people are sitting in prison because of false imprisonment? That's why lawyers do not let their clients speak. Well, I'm
Mm.
going to be honest with you. I don't think there's that many innocent people in prison. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm one of them guys that I know it's very slim how many innocent people are in prison. But I do get it. It's the lawyer's responsibility to protect their client. Okay. So they have to protect their client. No lawyer is going to let you talk to the police. So I do agree with you. I do agree with you.
Yeah, Danny, that's the job of the lawyers. We understand that. And of course, for people who are innocent of something and they've been falsely accused, we commend the lawyers. We're great. We're very grateful to them in that situation. But for the lawyers who are literally telling their guilty clients to just lie and be malicious, that's horrible. I don't know how they sleep at night, as we've both talked about.
And listen, Pete, I just want to say one thing. We did have somebody trying to interrupt our podcast here today with a lot of comments, and I blocked him, but I
Great.
might have blocked other people by accident. So I will unblock you when I get done here. While I was trying to block him, I might have blocked other people. I apologize, guys.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. We appreciate everyone tuning in, even people who are trying to be disruptive. Obviously, we don't want you in the live stream, but you're welcome to go back and listen later. At the end of the day, Danny, we know people are going to be people, good, bad, and people are in bad moods and whatever. We're trying to find this missing girl. We're trying to bring awareness to missing persons cases. We're trying to solve these true crimes. So back to the case, I see another comment on Facebook now. Shout out to our Facebook listeners. Anna says the dress they found on the beach does not look like the one that Sudiksha was last wearing. So that's another thing that I've heard. They did find a white cover up. It was kind of like a grid style cover up, like a netting, almost transparent cover up on there. That was the only clothing article they found of hers. But some people are saying that that doesn't look like hers. So that's another interesting perspective.
Right. And Pete, I think what's going to come down in this case is somebody knows something and somebody's going to talk, maybe one of his friends later on. Somebody's going to talk. Now, could this kid be innocent? Of course he could. Could somebody else got this girl? Could something else have happened to him? Of course. But
Absolutely.
Pete, he was last seen with her.
Yes.
He said she got hit by a wave and then he looked around and she wasn't there and he went home. I just don't believe it.
So we know for sure that we both talked about how we think the reaction of the parents is very suspicious, but the parents were not there. So the parents are responsible for, Danny, you're a parent. I'm a parent to a bulldog. I don't have any human children, but we know that when you're a parent, you're responsible for preparing your child for the world, preparing them for adulthood, and then hoping and praying that they can handle themselves and become healthy, happy adults one day. So the parents are not to blame for her being missing. However, the friends, Danny, the friends, why did they not have a bigger accountability? Why did they take her phone? That's just so weird. Like, I wish we could stop right there and ask that question to her friends and get an answer. Why did they keep her phone while she's out partying in a foreign country with a stranger? And then why in the world did they not check on her the next morning instead of just going on an excursion?
Pete, I totally agree with you 100%. I don't know. It don't make sense to me at all. I mean, there's no way I would ever leave my friend. Never. And listen, I'm sorry. I got one more comment I was looking at. I apologize, Pete.
Yeah.
World Went also has another comment. I don't think there were many innocent people jailed also until I started looking at the Innocent Project. There's a lot more than I imagined. Hey, that's a good comment. Maybe me and Pete could look into that. Some of the cases that the Innocent Project's putting out there, maybe we could support somebody that is innocent. So that's a good point. You're right. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and we appreciate your comments. As we talked about during the Scott Peterson case, that was recently taken on by an Innocence Project in California. So that, of course, is a big case. But there's so many small cases that the public is not aware of, that mainstream media is not covering. So I agree. We should definitely look into that more. There are definitely a lot of people that could use a voice who don't have a voice right now.
Exactly. And that's something we could definitely look into. I'm glad you brought that point up. Me and you could go to the Innocent Project website, look at different cases, and shit, maybe we could help somebody that's innocent. That's actually a great point. I
Yeah,
really love that.
I really hope he
And
can.
he said that's it. He said, "Great work, guys. That would be an interesting podcast. That's something we should do in the future."
Yes, absolutely. We appreciate that. And we're getting more comments, I think, on this episode, Danny, than we've ever gotten. I'm having a difficult time keeping up with all these platforms.
Listen, guys, and we had problems this podcast. And let me tell you what, I'm going to tell you, it was my fault. My headphones died. That's why we couldn't hear you. It wasn't you, Pete.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I thought if I plugged my headphones in, it would stay charged, but it didn't. My headphones went out, and that's why I couldn't hear you. I had to disconnect them. So it was my fault. Our problems were Danny's fault today.
Hey, no worries. Sometimes technical difficulties happen. They happen on movie sets. They happen on major concerts. It's all good. McBlue over on YouTube said we need 2 podcasts a week. So who knows? Maybe in the future that'll happen.
Hey, we got another good comment. Thank you, guys. We so appreciate this, guys. And we're gonna be doing whatever you guys want us to do. This is Pete. We had over 100 people just listening to us live today, which is fantastic, man. We want to thank you all. And we know we're doing stuff right. I know I'm doing stuff right. I know Peter doing stuff right because we're getting a lot of hate. We had 2 guys in here trying to interrupt our podcast because we're getting the word out. The more popular you get, the more hate you get. Okay? So we did have somebody trying to interrupt the podcast, but guess what, buddy? You don't interrupt me and Pete. We're too big. We're too big.
We're going to keep on talking. We're going to keep on going. We're going to keep on being the voice for the voiceless. And thank you, Anna, for your comment on Facebook. Anna has another interesting point. She says that the shirt that they found was sleeveless. I'm sorry, the dress they found was sleeveless, but Sudiksha's dress had sleeves. So that's something that I personally missed that in my research. I do my absolute best to research all these cases. Danny, you're the crime solver. You have years and years of investigative forensic knowledge. So we do our best to cover this, but there's so many facts that emerge constantly. We're trying our best to cover all the facts.
Exactly. And guys, I know we have 4 minutes. There's so many comments over here on Instagram. It's crazy. I love watching you guys. I'm watching from Scotland. From Scotland. All right. And listen, we got one more comment I want to go over, Pete. This
Okay.
guy said first he said the wave hit him, and then he said he saw her walking away before he passed out. So did the wave hit her or was she walking away? This guy keeps changing his story. I agree with this comment on Instagram.
Yes, I think that Joshua definitely is hiding something. And I think that he's the number one biggest spotlight that we definitely need to continue to look at him as a person of interest, whether or not it's as a suspect. We need to all admit and realize that he probably is holding some details or some keys that could help find her. He might be ashamed, Danny. He might be embarrassed, or he might be flat out guilty of something, one of those facts. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's telling everything.
I totally agree, Pete. I don't think he's telling everything either. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, and I see another comment here on Instagram from Dee Dee. Is it only American cases that we discuss? The answer is no. But here in America, we're a messed up country, so we have a lot of true crime cases to talk about in our messed up country. But we want to talk about cases from all over the world.
Yes, and if you want to DM us a case from another country, we will definitely do that. So just let us know. DM me, DM Pete on any of our social medias, and we will do it.
Yes, definitely. And one more comment to get to. Melly from Instagram says they think it was a setup like the movie Taken when the girls went to Paris. So I get that type of vibe, Danny. I get that type of feeling that something's not right here. Something's just unsettling in my stomach when I hear the details about this. We only have about a minute and a half left of the show. So unfortunately, we can't get to all these comments, but thank you all for your comments. There's a lot of shady stuff going on in this case. And in the future, we will continue to update you as we get new developments on this case.
I totally agree. Thank you, guys. I want to thank you guys. Please tell people to watch us or hear us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. We are everywhere, guys, and we're going to continue doing this live every week, every Thursday at 6 p.m.
Yes, definitely. And as we have just about a minute left, one last comment. Donna says to look at the new video when the girls are walking back. She says we can see 2 guys walking the way towards the beach. So that's another thing. Danny, we didn't even get to talk about everything I want to talk about. The power went out at the resort also at the same time. The power went out. There's a lot of suspicious stuff going on the night of this disappearance.
Exactly. And the power went out. God, these cases, I think I got to agree with people. We need to have maybe 2 podcasts a week, maybe in the future.
Yes. So we're going to keep you all updated as we just have a few seconds left. I just want to thank everyone. I want to let everyone know we are currently entertaining the idea of sponsors. We have a couple potential sponsors right now. If you want to help sponsor the show and help get this word out and the message out to more people, please let us know. Reach out to us.
Okay, and right before we go here, guys, 8:30, an hour and a half from now, we will be live on TikTok. We call it the podcast after party. Go follow me and Pete. We'll be live on TikTok. You can come up and talk to us. It's the after party on TikTok. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Do the cash walk, hey, I'm leaving flaming footprints on the asphalt. Pop your collar, twist your wrist, do the cash walk. I'm dropping dollars while you're wishing on a scratch off. My hollow mama list, she just hit the jackpot. I'm leaving flaming footprints on the asphalt. Pop your collar, twist your wrist, do the cash walk. I'm dropping dollars while you're wishing on a scratch off. My hollow mama list, she just hit the jackpot. I'm leaving flaming footprints on the asphalt.